Before we get to the Nintendo Switch news and the brand new Switch game announcements, I just want to bring you something funny and lighthearted, because man oh man did The Guardian understand the assignment. They titled their new Luigi's Mansion 2 HD review, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD review. The scariest surprise is the price. That's getting it. That's doing it. That is doing a good service to all of us Nintendo fans. I don't know anybody that got Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. If you did, raise your hand, because good morning Mario and good morning Switch fans. It is time to discuss the latest in our Nintendo lives, and we're not going to be discussing Luigi's Mansion 2 because that price, along with Donkey Kong Country Returns HD's price, is hogwash. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce, and I'm proud to say there's a new Transformers game coming to Switch. This one announced out of nowhere, and some people are poo-pooing it because they say it looks budget. First of all, I don't want to write off any budget game in a day and age where Nintendo is charging $60 for titles that should be far less. But second of all, after playing Star Wars Hunters, I have a new appreciation for games that seem like they could be too simple, too budget, too crappy. Star Wars Hunters is genuinely very fun. I was never, ever sponsored for that game. I just downloaded it because I'm into Star Wars, and the game is actually good, and it runs super well on Switch. So if they're able to make this new Transformers title, Transformers Galactic Trials, run well on Switch, then I'm here for it. It's a unique combination of racing and combat, where in these trials, multiplayer battles, you have to race, and then at the end, dive into bot mode for third-person combat. There are some roguelite elements to it as well, because it says that you can grab relics in these battles and perform well to level up your Autobot, unlocking new skills and skins along the way. Galactic Trials Story Mode is a single-player experience, but then there's also an arcade mode that you can play against your friends. So I think this looks pretty darn neat. It's out October 11th of this year. It might end up being total crap, but I don't know, like, it's kind of a unique combination, racing and battler. Like, imagine if the Mario Kart characters got done with lap 2 and then had to Smash Bros their way into lap 3. Now, that's a game we'd all play. You can't deny that. So I think we should give Transformers Galactic Trials a bit of a chance, but Nintendo, of course, not giving a chance to those who decide to pirate against them. Nintendo is filing 2 more brand new lawsuits, this time against modded hardware and against Mr. James Archbox Williams, who is the famed lead moderator of r/Switch Pirates, the subreddit about Switch piracy with 190,000 members. And yeah, probably not a good thing to be the lead moderator of that forum, given Nintendo's definite hunger for eliminating all sources that they deem to be a scourge on their brand. So the first one, modded hardware, is somebody that Nintendo's been targeting for a while. They built up a reputation for selling modded Switch consoles and memory cards that allow you to pirate games. And, you know, Nintendo, of course, is not going to want that. They have had a long-standing battle with people like this, starting with the Mr. Gary Bowser, and moving forward, they've just gotten more and more aggressive over the years, and 2024 is definitely Nintendo's most aggressive yet in pursuing legal action against these types of people and companies. And then the Switch Pirates guy, that one, they say that James Archbox Williams is connected to several, quote, pirate shops, that he's been encouraging piracy by offering technical advice on the Switch Pirates subreddit, and supposedly that he's well aware that he's committing piracy because he bragged publicly that he's a pirate who isn't going to give Nintendo $50 for a game. Ha! If only you knew, James Archbox Williams, that you have to give Nintendo $60 for a game, not $50. Now, let's be very clear. I think piracy of this sort is completely wrong. Piracy of any sort is wrong. What's okay is emulation if you are following the rules established for legal emulation. Nintendo probably shouldn't step on the toes of those who are doing things in a legal matter, but if we're just going to go pirate games and we're going to mod hardware and things of that sort, then yeah, I don't have a problem with Nintendo going after them, and that's not right. The option to not paying $60 for Donkey Kong Country Returns HD or Luigi's Mansion 2 is you just go and play your old 3DS version, or you don't purchase it at all. The option is not pirate it. That's never what I'm saying and never what I'm advocating for. I do not think the alternative to paying Nintendo for a game we think is overpriced is to go illegally grab it. That's never something that I stand for. So Nintendo going against these two people is only going to continue. Anybody pops up, they're going to try and shut them down. I don't think there's any hope or any point in trying to do anything of this sort. Nobody should try to bring back Switch Pirates from the grave, even though they amassed 190,000 members. That's a lot of people, but they should just realize that like Nintendo ain't playing around here, and maybe just, save up your money for Switch 2. Now, speaking of Switch 2, this news is relevant because of a more powerful console on the horizon. Capcom announced that they are working on Resident Evil 9, and given that Resident Evil 7 and Village are on Switch, despite in cloud capacity, this is super cool. Nintendo will probably get a main version of Resident Evil day and date when Resident Evil 9 comes out, and I freaking love the new twist of Resident Evil. Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 7 are some of my favorite games. I feel like they are a Walt Disney World dark ride mixed with amazing shooting and crazy characters. It just takes you for an adventure in a single player fashion in a way that many games don't tend to do these days. And there's just something perfect about the horror and the mystery and just the weirdness, the power-ups, the enemies, the bosses, the characters. I feel it comes together in a way that does not seem corny and kitschy, but instead just seems cool and mysterious. And I think switching to first person was freaking fantastic. I hope they keep that up, and I sure hope that we do not get a cloud version of Resident Evil 9. I feel like we won't, because the next system should be powerful enough to handle it, and they do have that DLSS type software in order to better make the performance work where we need it to work, even if the actual hardware isn't capable of giving us the performance we need. So Resident Evil 9 is in the works. It's already been 3 years since Resident Evil Village, which is crazy to me. I feel like 8 was just a year or two ago, but it was actually 3 years ago. So this game might be closer than we think. Probably going to be announced fully next year, and then my guess is launching early 2026. And at that point, there should be a ton of Switch 2 out there, and I would imagine that this game is going to pop up on our Switch as well. Now, for those of you who have a current Switch and don't want to wait for a Switch 2, Nintendo is offering a 7-day trial for anybody who's ever been a part of Switch Online or not a part of Switch Online. Even if you've already claimed a free 7-day trial to NSO, you can do this one again, which I think is really nice. So if you've been waiting to play any of like those new NSO releases from the Super Nintendo, NES, or Game Boy, this is a great chance to do it. You do not, unfortunately, get a 7-day trial to the expansion pack tier. Now, that's a bit of a bummer, because that's where you could play the new Game Boy Advance games like Metroid Zero Mission. That's where you could play the Mario Kart DLC or the Animal Crossing DLC. So Nintendo is smart here. They're giving you something free to play multiplayer and to play, with some of their earlier systems. There's still a ton of great games, and I would recommend, actually, go play Donkey Kong Country 2. That's probably the best Donkey Kong has ever been, and it's a fantastic game that maybe you haven't played or maybe you didn't beat. It was very hard when I was little, so now's a great chance to go back and try to fly as the bee and actually progress your way through the very difficult Animal Antics stage and enjoy a game that is not going to cost you $60 like Donkey Kong Country Returns HD next year. Yes, I have a vendetta against this because I love DK. I wanted a new game, and instead we get an overpriced repackaging without new content, which is sad and disappointing. But new Transformers game, what do you think about it? Resident Evil 9, are you buying that on Switch to play portably? And Nintendo, of course, going after everybody. That is their new MO, and I think that's why we're getting such a lockdown this year, eliminating leaks, eliminating a lot of different rumors about the Switch 2, and then eliminating anybody that's trying to pirate or mod or do anything that would disgrace ye old Nintendo. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, everybody. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Love you lots. SwitchForce out.